Welcome everyone to Access Now Live. I'm Harry from the Access Now team. Glad to see people are arriving already. So please do feel free if you have any questions at all to get them in the comments and we'll answer them right away for you. These could be questions about your site. They could be questions just about Ezoic in general. Anything you like. So yeah, welcome. And please go ahead and get your questions in the comments. Hi, Online Courses World, how are you? Hi, Abdullah. Great to meet you. Welcome to Access Now. Glad to hear that you've got your site set up with Ezoic. Sure, go ahead. Shakti is asking, is there any chance that we're bringing back grants again? So at the moment, we don't have any immediate plans to, but there may be something that we bring back in the future if we may sort of change our minds on that. But right now, we don't really have any major plans to bring back grants. It was something that we tried for a little bit, and it's something that we may be bringing back later, but nothing as of yet. Welcome to those that are just joining the stream now. I'm here for the next sort of between 30 minutes and an hour, depending on demand. I'm just here to hang out and answer any questions that you might have about your site. So please do feel free to get them in the comments and I'll get right to them. So Online Courses World has said, I've got approved by Ezoic and my site is now displaying ads. How do I increase my revenue and what is the payment method in Ezoic? So it's a good question. So that question sort of split into two parts. I'll answer the first one first. How do you increase revenue? So there are multiple ways to do this. The first thing I would say, though, is that Ezoic is based on artificial intelligence, which means that over time, it will continue to optimize and learn what ad combinations are best for your users, meaning that the amount of revenue that you're earning on a per user basis should increase over time. You may see that you earn a relatively small amount when you first start, and then that will just continue to grow. That being said, we need to make sure that the site is set up correctly with Ezoic. So what I'm going to do is grab a guide on how to optimize your Ezoic setup for Epmv, which is earnings per 1,000 visits. That's the metric we use to track revenue performance on sites. So I'll grab you this article right here. And so what this article does is it'll just sort of take you through a few things to check to make sure that you've got everything set up correctly. This will include things like making sure that you've got at least 10 to 15 placeholders per page, and also making sure you've got things like more advanced ad formats enabled, anchor ads, vignette ads, things like that. multiple ad sizes as well. So we want to make sure we're allowing the system to test as many different types of ads and sizes of ads as possible in the locations that we allow it to. And that means that it'll find the ones that are paying the highest and the ones that are the best for user experience as well. But yeah, I definitely recommend taking a look at this article here, and that should help. But yeah, I hope that helped to answer your question. Shivram's got a question: how do I increase regional language Epnd? So this is quite a broad question. Epmv is it's a pretty unique metric in that there are thousands of different factors that go into it. This can include things like the amount of ads that you have on your page, but it can also include things like site niche. It can include things like how long your users are engaging with your content, and even down to things like what the weather's like outside when your users are visiting. That can actually affect how much people are willing to pay for advertising space on your site. But the point I'm trying to make with this is that I guess there's no one singular way to say, okay, I'm going to make this one change on the site and it will improve Epmv in this region. What you need to make sure you're doing is make sure that your site is set up with Ezoic properly and fully optimized so that the system knows exactly how to get the best out of your sort of ad space on the site. So I'd actually recommend the same article that I just sent over to Abdullah from Online Courses World. So it's just in the comments there. If you follow that link, it'll contain everything you need to know about making sure that your setup is optimized to make sure you're getting the most return from your ad space. So thanks for the question. Hope that helped. Please do feel free, if anybody's just joined the stream, to and have a question, to go ahead and ask. I'll be here for the next 30 minutes to an hour, just to answer any questions on your site, on your Ezoic setup, just on Ezoic in general that you might have. This could be monetization, site speed, SEO, anything that's troubling you with your Ezoic setup. I'll be happy to help. So please do get the questions in the comments, and I'll get right to them. While I'm here as well, if anybody wants me to take a look at their placeholder setup to make sure that everything's looking good, I'd be happy to do that. So please do let me know. Abdullah from Online Courses World has said they joined Ezoic because Adsense is not approving the site. So you don't need Adsense approval in order to actually work with Ezoic. Although we do have a lot of the same requirements. That being said, one thing that we do sometimes find Adsense denies a site for is if traffic is particularly low. And that's something that with the Access Now program, we're trying to eliminate. So we don't have any minimum page view requirements for Ezoic Access Now, whereas Adsense may decide not to approve a site. However, I'd definitely make sure that you're not breaking any of their content policies or anything like that. They should send you an email when they don't approve you, and they'll explain. It's kind of vague. They don't really go into much detail, but they'll explain why they denied the site. And if it's for a content policy reason, you need to look into that, find out what it is, and get that overturned, because Ezoic won't be able to continue working with the site if it doesn't meet our quality requirements from a content perspective. Also, from a traffic perspective, we need to make sure that you're not buy in low quality traffic. The traffic needs to be organic. But there's no absolute need for you to get approved for Adsense in order to work with the Zoic. But we're glad to see that you're on board as well. Ahmed has said they want to know the reason for your rejection from Texas.online because I tried a lot. All of my articles that exceed 1,000 words contain 4 pictures, all of which are exclusive. I want to know the reason for the rejection. Let me just pull up your site in our system. I might be able to get a little more info on this for you. So it looks like the site was approved by Zoic, but not approved by Google Ad Manager. We've actually recently just published a new article, which is able to help publishers get approved for Google Ad Manager. So the problem... So I'm just taking a look over the site now to see if I can spot anything. One thing that I would say, Ahmed, is that some of your categories are they're too similar to each other. So I can see here that you've got best cars and the fastest cars, which could be considered as the same thing. So people might think that the best cars are the fastest cars, so they don't know which category to click on when they're trying to look for a certain type of post. And then you've also got a category called talking cars, which seems to just be discussing cars in general. Again, people might get a little confused when they're trying to navigate your site because they don't know the difference between these 3 categories. And that is one reason that we see people get denied for Ad Manager quite a lot, is that this site is too confusing to navigate. So what I'd recommend doing is changing your categories to something where they're more distinctive. So for example, you could do fastest cars, most luxurious cars, cheapest cars, and then so you've got technology cars. You could have that as another category as well, and then you've got things that are clearly separated from each other, and it makes it easier for your users to navigate the page. So I would try doing that. What I'm also going to do is send over a link to a new support article we've written, which will walk you through why sites get denied for low value content and what you can do to actually fix it. It's really useful. I'll send a link in the chat. Hopefully this helps. I appreciate getting approved for Ad Manager is a really frustrating process, and it can take a long time, and Google don't really give us a lot of good reason as to why they don't approve sites. So yeah, well done for persevering with it so far, and take a look over that article, and fingers crossed we can get the site approved and you can start making money with the Zoic. But I hope that helped. Abdullah said that they're very impressed with the Ezoic support team and impressed with the Twist system. Good. I'm glad to hear that. We love Twist. We think it's a great way for us to be able to help as many people as possible in the fastest amount of time. So I'm glad to hear that you found it useful. If anybody is just joined the stream now, welcome. I'm Harry from the Access Now team. I'm going to be here answering your questions for the next 45 minutes or so. If you do have any questions about your site setup, about your Ezoic setup, could be your Leap setup with our site speed tools, monetization, could be a question about our analytics, a question about payment settings, something like that. I'm here to answer all of them, so please do make sure to get them in the comments, and I'll be happy to help. Hi Gaurav, you've created a Twist account. How can I contact you? So when you get invited to Twist, you should automatically be placed in a channel that contains other publishers at a similar stage of setup to you and the Ezoic Access Now team as well. If you're able to send me your Ezoic email address or your domain name, I'll be able to check to make sure that you've been properly put into the right channel. So feel free to put it in the comments. YouTube sometimes doesn't let you post email addresses or domain names in the comments. So if you just add a space between the words, it should post, and then I can take a look for you. Hi Gadget, I see that you're having issues. Please feel free to add your question to the comments, and I'll be able to answer them for you. Kaja says that their site was connected with Ezoic and Adsense, and then they did some mistakes and deleted Ezoic Adsense from Adsense. That's not a problem. We can set that back up for you. Can you send your Adsense email address in the chat, and then I'll be able to send over a link to your email, and you can just click that, and it'll reconnect Adsense. Yeah, that's not a problem, Kaja. We can relink your AdSense account. We just need you to send us your AdSense email address, and then we can do that for you. Just while I'm waiting for that, I'm going to get on some other questions, Kaja, but just send your email address in the comments, and then I'll sort that AdSense issue out for you. So LD Sapolo has dropped a message in the chat. Welcome. They've said, is it possible to monetize a forum-based website? So technically, yes, we do accept forum-based websites on Ezoic, but there are conditions to this. So we need to ensure that content remains compliant with AdSense and Google's content policies. And the issue with forums is that all of the content is user generated. And this means that it's pretty difficult to be able to moderate them and make sure that the content stays compliant. If you have a proper moderation procedure where you have yourself or a member of your team approving specific posts to be allowed onto the forum, then we would be able to work with the site and we would consider it. However, if it's not moderated at all, we can't guarantee that the content's compliant, and usually this means that we're unable to work with the site. But if you did want to add it to our system, we'd definitely review it for you, and then we could get back to you with feedback on that. But yeah, hopefully that helped. Queffy Lover has said, can we use Ezoic on BuddyBoss? So I've not heard of BuddyBoss before, but I've done a little bit of Googling. It looks like a forum theme for WordPress. So again, yes, you can use Ezoic on forums, but you need to make sure that you're moderating your content. We're unable to monetize content that's user generated where it's not being moderated, because we can't guarantee that the content is going to remain compliant. So to answer your question, yes, you can use BuddyBoss. Ezoic will work with pretty much every WordPress theme or add-on or plugin, with a few exceptions. You just need to make sure that the content is right. And what I'll do is I'll add a link to our requirements at the bottom into the comments, and then you can take a look over them and make sure that your site meets them. Not a problem, Queffy Luffer. Gareth, can I share my email? I can try to share my email with you. Yeah, that's fine. If you're able to see that in the comments there, feel free to send me an email and I can help you out with that. Online Course World has said, can I create more placeholders after my site is approved and it shows ads? Yeah, 100%. And I'd actually recommend that you do so. You want to make sure you've got at least 10 to 15 placeholders per page. This doesn't mean that 10 to 15 ads will show on the site. It just means that we're giving our AI system more options to experiment with. So the more placeholders you add, the more possible ad combinations can show on the site. And it means that our system can really tightly optimize to make sure that the ads that are being shown completely suit your users. They suit users because of the ad content itself, the ad sizes, and the locations on the page. And that can make sure that, one, you are earning more money because these ads are more tailored to the user, and therefore advertisers are probably going to be paying more for them. And two, you're not affecting the user experience on the site because you're not showing you're not showing your users an ad setup that they don't like. So yeah, for sure, definitely add some more placeholders in. If you haven't done so already, I would probably recommend, and you're on WordPress, I'd probably recommend using our WordPress plugin. And what that'll do is it sets up 60 placeholders on your site within a couple of clicks. And for me, it's much easier and quicker than using the Chrome extension. You get less precise control on where the ads show up, but it's a complete site setup in literally 2 minutes. So yeah, definitely recommend that if you've not used it already. Annex has said happy Friday. Happy Friday, Annex, to you as well. Just wondering, if I do a theme change but I have placeholders set up by the WordPress plugin, do I still need to hard code them? No, I wouldn't have said so. So if you change the theme and the placeholders do disappear, you should be able to regenerate them through the WordPress plugin. But I think that with the plugin that they should carry over okay. Yeah, but you don't actually need to hard code the ads either way if you're using the WordPress plugin, because even if you were to lose them, then you could just regenerate them within a couple of clicks. So Queffy Lover's got another question. Is it possible to make another YouTube that will work with Ezoic ads? Unfortunately, Ezoic doesn't have integration directly with YouTube, but what we do have is our own video platform, which is called Humix. It's in beta at the moment, but what isn't in beta and is a fully released product is our video player, which it'll allows you to add videos to your site and embed them on the page like ad placeholders, but they'll show videos instead. And we will host and serve the videos on your site. We optimize them for speed and SEO, and we can also monetize them as well. So you'll be able to earn money from videos. So if you have a YouTube channel and you want to display your own YouTube videos on your site, then you can do so through the Ezoic video player. I'm going to add a guide on how to use that into the chat. Spiller said there's no tutorial for the article to video creator. So you've been pretty fast, because I think the article to video creator just got released today as part of Content Month. So we will actually be running some tutorials on how to use those. So keep an eye out on our social channels on Facebook, Twitter, and we'll be fully advertising how to use this. So you will get more advice on this, but that'll be coming in the next few days. But it is a brand new tool, and we're really excited about it. But so be patient, and we'll be able to get you some advice on how to use that. Hi, Gaurav. Just want to let you know that I've received your email. I'm just checking it out now. Hi, Gaurav. So it looks like you've been assigned a publisher success manager who will be able to help with that. So because you're a level 2 publisher, you'll get personal support from a member of our team rather than through Twist. So what I can do is, after the live stream's finished, I'm going to send you an email just with the details of who you can contact, and they should be able to help you get approved for MCM. So yeah, sorry I couldn't be of more direct help on the stream, but I'll drop you an email once this is done, and we can get that fixed for you. Quite a few others says, can I use Ezoic to pay my users who create content on your site? Sure, that's up to you. We don't have the facilities to be able to pay different people directly. We'll only be able to pay out directly to you. But if you, as you're using user-generated content, if you do get approved and you do want to use Ezoic earnings to pay out your users, then you're more than welcome to do so. Abdullah said, can I use sticky ads? Sure. So we do offer a couple of sticky ad formats, and those are sticky sidebar ads that will float on the sidebar of the page, and they are also anchor ads which will float at the bottom of the page as well. You can enable those from the monetization settings, your ad tester settings in your Ezoic account. We don't offer sticky in-content ads, mostly because they're going to interrupt your content, which is sort of against Google's requirements and policies. But anchor ads can be turned on with just a switch, and then sticky sidebar ads can be added to your site using the Chrome extension as well. Aroma Saley has got a question for us. Thanks for joining. I applied to level 2 weeks ago. What are my chances to get? What are your chances for getting accepted with your current stats? Let me just double check the stat gradings, because I can't remember them completely offhand. Yeah, okay, so minimum requirements are $200 of revenue, 20,000 visits. To be honest, we typically need you to meet both the visit requirements and the revenue requirements. So it does sound like you might miss out this month, but the good news is that Ezoic is always optimizing your site, and the chances are, particularly because July, within Q3, July tends to be the sort of slowest month when it comes to ad rates. It sounds like you're likely to earn more money next month, and then it sounds like you're likely to earn more money next month, and then you'll probably be able to hit that threshold and get yourself into level 2. But it sounds like you're nearly there, so keep persisting, and next month it sounds like you'll be able to move up a level. Quite a few others said, I have a system in my site that pays users who create content on the site. Can I use Ezoic for that purpose? So we don't have third-party integrations like that for payments. We will pay you directly, and then you can decide to pay users based on that, but we can't integrate with a system that you have set up for payments. We're only able to pay you as an individual or as a business. Hope that answers your question. Abdullah said, Ezoic has an affiliate program. Can you also earn through affiliate? Yeah, so the affiliate program is something that we're really excited about. It means that any people that you refer to Ezoic who get approved, you'll be able to earn a flat 3% rate on whatever they earn through Ezoic. We're actually looking at running a few promotions in the near future, which will involve sort of prizes for the best performing affiliates in the Access Now program. So if this is something you're interested in, keep an eye out on Twist and on our socials, and we'll be able to give you more information in the very near future. But in the meantime, if you have friends and family who have websites who want to monetize through Ezoic, we'd love them to join us. So you can actually, you get a free affiliate account when you sign up for Ezoic. So I'll get you a guide with more details on how to use it, but you'll just be able to generate yourself an affiliate link. And if people sign up through that link, then you'll earn. How can I go? Kadia said, I've not received an email. Kadia, I can't send an email because I don't have your email address, but if you're able to put your email address in the chat, I'll send one over to you and we can get that solved for you. But yeah, I just need you to be able to enter your email address in the chat and I can help with that. Anax had said, I ran my first tag tester test, but when it was on the third variation, the title changed back to default and was stuck in waiting for Google. You lost many clicks and stopped the test, but now the default title is still there. Is it just a matter of waiting for Google to crawl and update the title? It does sound like it is. It does sound like it's just a matter of sort of hanging in there and waiting. If you do send your domain name over, I can double check to make sure there are no sort of errors with your tag tester setup, but it does sound like you've got everything set up correctly. So yeah, I think it's just a case of a little bit of patience with this sort of thing. We're testing some pretty complex things with sort of keyword scores and things like that. And I guess the thing with SEO is that it's kind of not an overnight thing as well. So we need to be able to allow a little bit of time to make sure that we're getting the right sort of conclusions from the data that we're gathering. But yeah, it does sound like you've got it set up correctly. So yeah, just hang in there. 40% of my visitors use ad blockers. Is there a possibility that Ezoic is working on anti-ad blocker features? So we've had this sort of issue raised with Ezoic quite a bit over the years, and so our stance on ad blockers is kind of this, that so people who use ad blockers are just not people who want to engage with ads on any level. If you put in a tool that forces users to turn off ad blockers, or a tool that helps Ezoic skirt around ad blockers and show ads anyway, what that is likely going to do is cause users to these 40% of users to just bounce from your site. Which on the one hand, you might think, okay, those users aren't making me any money anyway. I don't really want them on the site. But the problem is that when you increase bounce rates and you reduce the amount of engagement on the site, then your search rankings are going to drop. And it means that you're going to prevent the site from growing at the rate that it could. So my recommendation would be, as frustrating as it is, to just leave things as they are, allow that 40% of people to continue using the ad blockers. You'll still be able to make money on the 60% that aren't using ad blockers, and your site will continue to grow on a really nice trajectory, and you'll just continue to earn more because the amount of people visiting the site is going to grow. I know it's frustrating, but honestly, I think the best course of action that will not affect your site growth is to just ignore these guys and make sure you're making whatever money you can from the people who are allowing ads on their sort of page views. But yeah, sorry, we don't have an immediate solution to that, but I do think that is the best way to go with it. Superhype says it's crazy. July is the lowest month I heard, but I earned the highest amount ever this month. I actually earned 4 times more than I ever heard. That is exactly what we want to hear. That's great news. Yeah, we do tend to find that July is a really slow month globally for ad rates. I think it's probably because it's summer, people aren't really sat at computers and a lot of them are getting out of the house. And therefore ad rates just kind of tend to drop. It also tends to be a bit of a slow month buying wise. People are going on summer vacations, or they're saving for more purchasing towards the end of the year in the holiday season. So yeah, July is a pretty poor month for ad rates. So the fact that you performed that well is great news. I'm glad to hear it. And yeah, what Anax says is right. Earnings should go up towards the end of the quarter. So what we tend to see is that I'll get a screenshot up for you guys now. So yeah, so if we see here, we tend to see that ad rates they go up towards the end of each quarter. So if we look at the Q4 is the best month globally for ad rates. It starts end of October, and then we'll go all the way up. And we have Black Friday here. Black Friday is the highest day for ad rates every single year. We have a little drop down at Christmas, and then when it goes into Q1, it drops off. Then Q1's here. We have January, February, March, drop off a little for Q2. And it sort of does this every year. You kind of got to ignore this because this is when COVID hit. But yeah, so we tend to see earnings are at their highest at the end of the quarter because advertisers have a quarterly budget. They'll hit the end of the quarter and they'll think, oh, we've got to use up all of our surplus, and then so they'll spend loads, and then the new quarter will hit and ad rates will drop because advertisers are sort of reassessing, re-strategizing. So yeah, in short, July, pretty slow months. Once we hit August, September, you should see way more earnings. So it's great to hear. Super hyped that you're having some success with the Zoic. Yeah, really, really great stuff. Ahmed has said that I applied, like I said, added a luxury card section instead of a fastest card section. Is there anything else to be modified and accepted as soon as possible to the site? Yeah, so the luxury card section will help. If they come back again with a denial, I would think about changing the talking cars category to something a little more, a little easier to identify. Because if the category is just talking about cars, then you could say that every page on your site applies to that because your site is about cars. So when we add a category, we want to make sure that the category you're adding makes it easier to differentiate content. It makes it easier for a user to find specific content they're looking for. Just talking about cars is too general. Hopefully that makes sense. Anax has just sent the domain name in, so I'm just going to get that question back up on the screen. Yeah, so everything does look fine with your setup. And I just recommend starting the experiment again and see how it goes. Have a little bit of patience with it, and it should be able to get you some results. But yeah, everything does look okay with the setup. So I think it should just be fine to restart. Computergarage.org says, I'm thinking of quitting your full-time job to work on sites. The only thing holding me back is if I get banned by Google or Zoic. That's all my revenue gone. I appreciate the concern. I think it's great that you're in a position where you can consider packing in your job and working on sites full time. I see you said that you do everything above board, no black hat tactics. Is there any possibility I can be banned from Google or Zoic for something that's out of my hand, such as a person consistently clicking on my ads? To be honest with you, the people consistently clicking on ads, it isn't really something that I've ever seen when it's not been something that's sort of not been some underhand tactics by the publisher themselves. I don't really tend to see that there are many people that go around clicking other people's ads, because while I understand that multiple clicks on ads from the same people is suspicious and it can lead to sort of ad punishment, people don't really tend to actually do this to get back at someone, or not from my experience anyway. One thing I would say is that if you are seeing unusual click activity, we'll usually flag that pretty quickly in our system and get in touch with you to say that there's something wrong. And that tends to happen, if we can resolve where that issue is coming from, we wouldn't permanently deny a site without giving you an opportunity to work through it with us. but yeah, I do understand the concern, but I don't think this is something that you should worry about too much. But yeah, the main takeaway is it's great news for you that you're in a position where you can sort of focus on this full time, and we hope that Ezoic will be able to help you sort of achieve that. For sure. Hopefully that helped and answered your question. Esther says, how can we improve pages without revenue? So pages without revenue, as the name suggests, are pages on your site that are getting hits, but they're not actually earning any money. There's a few reasons for this. So firstly, Ezoic won't serve ads on certain pages, such as your privacy policy page, an about us or contact us page. Basically pages that don't have content, proper written content, we won't serve ads on. So there's not really a great deal you can do about that. We just won't serve ads on those pages, so they will come back as a page without revenue. Another reason that a page can not record revenue is that you've decided to not serve ads on that page. So we have a disable ads by page app, which will, again, as the name suggests, turn off ads on a page that you enter. You can enter a single page rule, a full directory, a category on your site. So if you're seeing a lot of pages without revenue, I'd check to make sure that you haven't got any rules set up in there, or if you do have rules, they've not been set up in a way that will sort of prevent a load of ads from serving on the site. And then the other sort of reason that we tend to see pages without revenue are objectionable content. And what this means is that Ezoic has a scanner that will check your content to make sure that it doesn't contain any explicit material. And if it does, if it finds it, it'll turn off ads on that page. And we do that to be able to protect you from getting any Google sort of bans or disablements, anything like that. So it is a protection thing. But what you can do is if you go into your Ezoic account and go over to the content page, it's just in the menu at the top. Then scroll down just towards the bottom, you'll see a section that says objectionable content. And what that'll do is it'll show you all the pages on your site where we've turned off ads because we've decided that there's a word in there that's not appropriate. Sometimes this is done sort of in error, and we don't check these manually. It's all done automatically by a filter. So if we find content that that a single word on its own sounds bad, we might turn off ads, but actually in context it's not anything explicit at all, then we can make adjustments for that. So if you're finding a load of objectionable content, what I'd recommend doing is getting in touch with us via Twist, and we can take a look into that for you. And if we decide that it's appropriate to be able to reactivate ads on those pages, then we can do that for you. Sportlife has come in with a question, and Abdullah's actually come in with a very similar question, so I'll be happy to answer them here. So what constitutes the Epmb of a website or blog post? So first of all, we've got to define what Epmb is. Epmb stands for earnings per 1,000 visits, and it's a metric that we use to sort of determine how well your site is performing. So previously, you may have heard of similar metrics like RPMV, which is RPM, which is earnings per 1,000 impressions, which it actually doesn't really make too much sense for a publisher to use these metrics. These metrics are to decide the price of a single ad for an advertiser. But what we do with Epmv is we see how much you're earning on a per visitor basis. And the aim with that is that we can see how your performance per visitor improves over time. But it's a pretty wide range of metrics. So there's literally thousands of factors that go into it. So things like site niche will affect your Epmv, which tends to be one thing that a lot of people get concerned about. But actually things that affect your Epmv just as much, if not more, are how long your visitors are spending on your site. So if a visitor comes onto the site, visits one page, spends 30 seconds on it, and then leaves without really scrolling down, then they're not going to trigger that many ad impressions in that visit. But if they're coming onto a site, finding some really, really well-written, engaging content, they're going to read a whole post and might view 5 or 6 ads and record impressions for those. Then they'll go to another post and they'll view 5 or 6 ads there. And then by the time they actually leave the site and complete the visit or the session, then they've actually earned far more per visit. So it's a gauge of how engaging your content is as well. So really what we want to be doing is aiming to get the highest Epmv possible, which can be done in two sort of main ways. The first way is making sure that your user experience is as strong as possible on the site. And Ezoic can do that through the AI ads feature. We also have site speed features that can help you optimize for user experience. But the point I'm trying to make there is you want to make sure that you're producing really good, informative, high quality content. And then the second thing that we can do to ensure that we have a high Epmv is make sure that your ad setup is really strong. So I actually did post earlier on in the chat, but it was quite a while ago, a guide on making sure that you're set up for Epmv. So what I'm going to do is just post it in again. And this will help you make sure that you're getting the most out of your ad space on the site. So yeah, I definitely recommend taking a look at that. And that should help. Esther said, I've uploaded a video, but I've not had views on the video. How can I improve the view rate? The first thing I'd ask is, when did you upload it? Because our reporting isn't in real time. So if you uploaded it yesterday, we won't actually be able to report on it until noon Pacific time today. So if you're not seeing views turn up straight away, that's not a problem. If you're going on the page and you're not seeing the video show up at all, I'd recommend getting in touch with us via Twist, and we'll be able to sort of help you out with that, or getting in contact with us however you usually do. Ahmed, I hear you with the concerns about low value. Is your site rejected or not? You'll need to wait for them to get back to you. I'm unable to. Yeah, they'll send you an email once they finish their review. Send gifts when we upgrade our level? Not that I know of. Maybe one day, but I'm not sure whether we send gifts or not when you upgrade our level. Sometimes we do send out t-shirts, but yeah, keep an eye out, and you never know, something might turn up in the post. Superhype said, in fact, in July alone, I made all of last year when you were with Adsense. Only switched to Ezoic about 4 months ago. That is great to hear. Yeah, I love that. Superhype. Glad to hear that you're getting really good results. It sounds like you've got your Ezoic setup really fine-tuned. So, and the great thing about Ezoic is, and I guess I don't have to tell you this, but once you set it up, you don't need to be constantly tweaking things. That is what the AI is there for. So it'll be constantly making adjustments, and hopefully it means that your Epmv will continue to improve, and you're just going to continue to earn more money. Movie Makies has said, how do I connect a subdomain? So we should automatically pull in subdomain records when you integrate with Ezoic, but by default, we don't turn them on. We can turn them on, but we just need you to get in touch with us. So if you're in Twist, I'd open up a thread and let them know what subdomain you need switching on, and then they'll be able to get it sorted for you. Faisal, hi Faisal, they've said, should I remove the code Google provide you to put the site header before AdSense review? My site's been approved for AdSense. Will it affect mediation? I think leave it in. It shouldn't be doing too much harm being in there. I don't think it'll affect mediation, but on the off chance that it does, I'd recommend probably just leaving it in rather than taking it out. But again, I don't think it should cause an issue, but maybe just leave the tag in for now. There is a Ezoic code appearing on my AdSense ad unit. Should I put the code on pages? If you're seeing any Ezoic references in your AdSense account, that's just mediation working. What we do is the mediation system will set up Ezoic ad unit within AdSense, but you don't need to do anything. Ezoic will just handle that all automatically. So if that's what you mean, you're seeing Ezoic ad units in AdSense, then that's great. It means that mediation is AdSense is winning in mediation, and it means that you're earning more money. But but you don't need to actually do anything. That'll just be handled automatically. Abdullah, is as though it doesn't show ads when the visitor clicks on post. Google AdSense ads show first. That shouldn't be the case. Exotic ads should definitely show first. So we just going to try and find your site in our system. I can't find your site, but yeah, we don't tend to serve AdSense ads alongside Ezoic ads. What the user will see is either an Ezoic version of the site or they'll see an AdSense version of the site. So if you're seeing ads, Ezoic ads, most of them come from Google, so they look exactly the same as AdSense ads, but they're not. They're Ezoic ads. So you may think that you're seeing AdSense ads, but they are from Ezoic. Gaurav said, my mediation earnings are performing superb with the setting of 100%. What happens if I switch it to 80%, 20%? Do I have to place the AdSense code everywhere for that 20%? Did you remove your AdSense code before when you set up Ezoic? Because it should just remain there, and therefore you don't have to set up any AdSense ads again from scratch. If you're using auto ads or something like that, then they'll be fine. The only way you'd have to replace your AdSense ad units is if you specifically deleted them when you moved over to Ezoic. But we don't usually recommend doing that, so most people don't. Mediation should continue to work the same, I would have thought. We're still inviting AdSense in to bid on the same inventory. So the fact that the traffic has gone 20% more AdSense's way when you're partitioning it shouldn't actually make a difference. It should be fine. Myla, how can I resolve AdSense program policies when you don't know your policy violations? Yeah, this is a really tricky one. Unfortunately, Google are really bad at actually providing details on why sites weren't approved. The only thing that I can recommend is taking a look over their full list of policies. What I will send over is we have a doc on getting approved for MCM, which you might actually find useful. It won't answer everything, but it will cover a lot on why sites don't get approved. I'm just going to send that back in to the chat. I did link it earlier, but it should help. Oops. So yeah, if you just follow that link, Myla, that should help. Yeah, sure, Kaji. I'll just send my email in now. If you just send, if you send me an email, then I'll be able to help. Iroma Selly's got another question. I noticed that Ezoic isn't showing ads that on pages that require a login. Is this a login for the admin areas of your site, or do you have a member area of the site where users can log into their own accounts? I'll still answer your question, but we've got a few more questions in the chat. So yeah, just let me know whether you mean your sort of admin area or an area for a user to log in, and then I'll be able to help with that. Abdullah said, is Ezoic disapproved when we have invalid traffic on our site, or does Ezoic have an ad limit? If we find invalid traffic, we will disapprove the site. We don't really do ad limits per se. Google might do an ad limit, which means that we limit ads by default, but yeah, we deny sites that don't have high quality traffic. I see you've also asked, does Ezoic approve downloading site? I have a site which is on downloading niche. Can I monetize it through Ezoic? Typically no, because download sites usually mean that you're offering downloads to content which doesn't belong to you. So firstly, this can be illegal, but secondly, we need to focus on monetizing content that's written or created by the publisher themselves. So even if you're offering free unlicensed content for download, we wouldn't typically approve it. So yeah, it doesn't sound like the sort of site we'd approve, I'm afraid. Ramil's got a question here. I have a free trial of Ezoic Pro, but I don't see any difference from my regular account. So Ezoic Pro is what it offers are some additional features that are kind of like nice to haves, rather than you wouldn't typically see more earnings with Ezoic Pro, but there are additional features that if it's something that you're interested in, then you can sort of go ahead with the purchase. But what you do get access to is additional reports. So you can see exactly how well each of your placeholders are performing. We'll be able to see which ad locations and ad sizes work best. And you'll be able to see an additional sort of list of metrics to be able to track through Ezoic Pro. We give you unlimited access to Tag Tester, so everybody using monetization has access to, I think, 3 tests on Tag Tester for free. But you can use that as many times as you want with Ezoic Pro. We also allow multi-user login, so if you have a business where multiple people are running the site and you want to give access to your Ezoic account at different sort of levels of access, then you can do that through Ezoic Pro. But there's no sort of additional revenue benefit. So you might not notice that you're seeing loads more money. But if you're interested in those other features, then Ezoic Pro would be for you. Super Hyper said, my mediation is set at 90 and 10%, which seems to perform better than when I put it at 100%, which is crazy because people say it should be 100%. It doesn't work as well for me. Interestingly, so when it comes to the percentage of traffic you send to Ezoic versus Adsense, we do put it on 90 rather than 100 as standard, because Ezoic will just continue to gather data from your Adsense account, and as you earn through Adsense, it will be able to inform its own decisions on what ad sort of combinations work best on your site. So sometimes we do see that people earn a little more when they turn Ezoic down a touch to that 90% rather than 100. However, if you've not done this in a while, I would maybe think about turning it back to 100%, because you might find that the system has gathered enough data to be able to make a more sort of informed optimizations on the site, and it'll be able to sort of boost your earnings by that further 10%. The only thing I wouldn't recommend doing is turning your traffic up and down like every day, because it confuses the system, it can affect the data, and it means that you won't earn maybe as much as you could earn. So if you want to stick it on 90%, then great. But if you want to move it up to 100, you'd probably earn even more, I'd say. Gaurav said, my site never placed AdSense code anywhere. It's Ezoic which is handling all the stuff. As I can see, Ezoic ad units in your AdSense. Okay. I think in this case, Gaurav, I'd just leave Ezoic at 100%, because if you turn it down, we wouldn't be able to serve the percentage that's not Ezoic, wouldn't be able to serve AdSense ads from Ezoic. So it just means you'd have to go and set up AdSense ads on the site. I would just leave it at 100, Gaurav, to be honest. Ramil has said, what's Tag Tester? No problem. So Tag Tester is a new SEO tool that we've developed, which allows you to test multiple titles for your articles. So if you have a high performing article that you want to boost a little bit, you would put into Tag Tester and test multiple different versions of the title. And what Ezoic will do is analyze them and test them through Google search and it'll automatically change the title tag on the post itself to make sure that it's performing best in SEO. So it's just it just allows you to experiment with the titles of your posts to be able to make sure that they're performing best in search rankings, basically. But I've got a support article on it here. I can add that in the comments for you. I'll add this here so you can read more about it. Abdullah said, is there any address verification or payment verification in the Zoic? No, it's not the same as Adsense in that sense, although you do need to apply for Ad Manager and they may ask you to verify your address. I'm not entirely sure what the process is, but as far as I know, there isn't a verification process. Esther says, what happens if I don't see the mediation option in my dashboard? So you should be able to find it in the monetization tab. So if you just scroll down past ad tester and keep going, you should see mediation there. One thing to make note of is that mediation only really works if you've already got an established relationship with AdSense or whichever ad network you're adding to it. So it doesn't really make too much sense to create an AdSense account and then add it to mediation. You're probably not going to earn any more money than you were. But mediation should be there. I don't really know of any reason why it wouldn't be. If it's not, then I'd recommend opening up a thread in Twist, and we'll be able to take a look. Kaja, I just received your email there. I'm just going to create a new AdSense invite and send it back to you. Ramil said, where can I find tag tester in your Zoic dashboard? It's in the SEO section, so you'll be able to find it there. I'm just gonna, what I'll do, Kaja, is I'll send your AdSense link in once I've finished this stream, which I'm going to finish up in the next sort of 5-10 minutes. It's been a busy one today, so it's run over a little. I see Sabina from Mum Van Upsin. Hi, Sabina. Sabina's actually made some great videos on his Zoic Access Now program recently. I'd recommend checking those out if you've not done so already. Good morning over in America. Shakti has said, apart from English, which other language or region gets the next best Epmb? I kind of covered this before a little bit, but it's pretty much impossible to say. Epmv depends on thousands of factors, and language and location is kind of just one small part of that. If you're developing your content in English, what I would probably recommend is just continuing to focus your efforts on developing content in English. You're probably going to get the best return from that content. So it doesn't really make too much sense to sort of diversify into another language if you're looking to get the most money out of the content you produce. If writing content in another language is something you're interested in and something that appeals to you, then I would definitely recommend doing it. I think it's easy to get yourself wrapped up in what's going to make you the most money. But I think there's something to be said for just focusing on writing the content that you want to write. So if expanding to another language is something that you're considering, then sure, go for it. Abdullah said, Zoic hosting is free or not, and where can I find the Zoic hosting in its packages? So we do offer a free WordPress hosting service. It's a basic sort of shared hosting package. We only really offer one version of it. and it is completely free, but it's only accessible once you've been approved for monetization. But once you are approved, you can just find it in the settings tab. It is a sort of self-serve migration process. So what you will need to do is you need to have a little bit of knowledge of how to migrate sites, which will involve downloading a backup of your site and your database, and then uploading it to Ezoic either via SFTP, or you can use plugins for that. We do have the option to create, if you prefer, we can just create a blank WordPress site and you can just import your data that way. But yeah, I've got a support article here somewhere on the WordPress hosting app. Hopefully this helps. Shakti said, "What's the average Epmv for a pet site on Ezoic?" Again, I wouldn't like to say. It can vary so much. And I wish I could give you an answer, but it's not really possible for us to say, okay, so a pet niche is going to get this, or a sports niche is going to get that. It depends on so many more factors than niche. It would be sort of unfair for me to give you a number because I wouldn't be able to give you one reliably, I'm afraid. Sorry about that. Ramil said, "I'm also not showing AdSense ads on my site, but I only have 90% of Ezoic." If you're not showing any of the ads on your site, then I would probably just set it to 100%, so you're making money from all of your users. Hope that helps. Myla says, "Is there someone that can look at my website and help me get AdSense approval?" I'm afraid we don't have any real influence over whether or not sites get approved for AdSense. I appreciate that's frustrating, but I'm afraid there's not really much else that we can do with this. Keep persisting, and you may be able to get it overturned. So Sabina from Mum Van Up has said, "I'm having trouble getting Search Console to connect for my site because I'm integrated with name servers and I can't add a TXT record of your registrar." So with the Search Console verification, you should just be able to add that to your DNS settings in Ezoic and it should work. So if you go into the settings tab and then DNS settings, you should see a full list of records that Ezoic have for your site. And because you're using Ezoic name servers, that's where Google will be looking for the verification code. So if you just add the TXT record in there, then it should work for you. If you're having trouble with it, just let us know and we can take a look. Katie has said, "I think the max CPC rate for my site is capped at 20 cents. As far as I know, we don't have a max CPC rate for sites. Ezoic pays out based on impression click, basically more than just an actual flat CPC rate. And we wouldn't put a limit on that sort of thing because we want you to make more money. So I'm not sure where you've got that from per se." Waka said, "Hi Waka," he said, "I'm looking for some more traffic." What I do have is a great tool that you can use is our blog. We have a team of SEO experts who work on our marketing team, and they're always publishing content. They're always publishing content that can advise on how to increase your sort of Google search performance and stuff like that. So what I'm going to do is drop a link to our SEO category. I'd recommend checking that out. And you'll find a lot of content in there that's really useful if you wanted to really organically sort of grow your site. Hope that helped. And Waka also asked, "Do you have Yahoo Native on your ad network?" I don't think so. Let me just check. It doesn't look like we have Yahoo Native, but we pull from thousands of different advertisers. A lot of it is leveraged from Google's Ad Exchange, but we also have a lot of other ad partners as well. It does ensure that we can guarantee the best sort of price for your ad range. Epmv is increased after disabling AI and enhanced placeholders. Is that normal? So I tend to find that AI placeholders don't always perform as well as placeholders that have just been inserted yourself on the site. So if you've disabled those and you've inserted your own placeholders, it's very likely that you'll see your Epmv improve. What I would actually recommend doing is keeping the placeholders that you've got in and then enabling AI and enhanced placeholders as well. And then you've got a sort of two-pronged approach, and then you'll be able to make sure you're getting the most. Shock T says, thanks for conducting the live streams. Appreciate your efforts. Well, you're welcome. It's we're glad we're able to connect with you guys on this regular. We think that publishers tend to find it useful. So glad to hear that you've got sort of good feedback. I'm gonna finish up in the next 5 minutes just because I don't have long left on this room booking. But it's been great talking to you. I'll answer 3 more questions. So Ramil said, I only have less than $1 a day revenue with around 1.8k visits. Again, I'm just going to point you back to that Epmv article. You want to make sure that Ezoic has been properly set up on your site, because it can really help with revenue, but we need to make sure that it's working properly. So check that article out to make sure everything's set up right. Gaurav has said, how exactly does Ezoic schedule site reviews in Premium? What are the benefits? So if you're a member of Ezoic Premium, then you'll get access to site reviews. I think it's once a quarter. And this means that you'll be able to, what you'll do is you'll book in a site review, and you'll be put in touch with one of our sort of optimization experts, and you'll have a call booked in with them, and they'll be able to discuss your site performance and how it can be improved. I think they also have bandwidth to talk about things like how you can improve traffic as well as just revenue. But if you're on Ezoic Premium, then once you're eligible to get a site review, then you'll see an option in your dashboard, and you'll go in and you'll see like a calendar, and you just book on the calendar. But yeah, hope that's answered your question. Okay, I'm gonna finish it up. I'm gonna finish it up with this comment from Sabina. She's just said the new Trailblazer feature looks amazing. I guess it's not really a question, but yeah. So for those of you that are level 1 publishers or higher, you may see that there's a Trailblazer. A Trailblazer option on the top right of your dashboard. And what this is this gives you access to new features that Ezoic is testing. It's essentially sort of like a beta test group. And it means that if you're somebody who's really interested in, if you're sort of more technically involved with your site and you want to get involved in testing out the newer features that Ezoic has to offer, then you can do so through the Trailblazer program. It's something that we're excited about because it means that we get to get new features to you guys earlier. But yeah, glad to hear that there's some good feedback. And yeah, and Gara says, when can we see you again on the live stream? I might not be here for a week or so, but a member of our team does a live stream twice a week. So we tend to have one on a Thursday on US time at sort of 5 p.m. UK time, 9 a.m. Californian time. And then we have one on a Friday at noon British time as well. So we're starting off by doing 2 a week, and if they're getting enough positive responses, then we'll increase those as well. If that's something that you're more interested in and you want us to do more of these, then let us know, and we can sort that out for you. But yeah, I'm gonna leave things there. It's been great talking to you all, and yeah, I hope you all have a great weekend, and we'll catch you soon.